Greetings, my peoples, and welcome to this week's episode of Vinyl Douche ASMR. And this week we are delving into the 1973 Mastodon album that was Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy. This was the first Led Zeppelin album that had a name other than the eponymous 4 albums. And although they didn't print the name of the album or the name of the band on the cover, Peter Grant, the producer, legendary producer, let them put this banner on the album that you slid or broke off, which I stupidly did, because this was probably the first wave of vinyl that I bought, which, had I known better when I started, I would have looked for an original copy, or at least one from that era. And I definitely didn't know about the banner. So when I bought it and then I wanted to listen to it, so I cut the side open and cut right through the banner. Bad. I guess I didn't want to. At that point, I didn't have dust covers yet, and I didn't want to take off the plastic, which I will be doing later. So, this album was recorded on something called the Rolling Stones Mobile. And they did it at Stargroves and Headley Grange, which are 2 homes, locations in England. And I believe Stargrove is Mick Jagger's house. So, they use this mobile thing to go around and record, and some additional recording was done at Island and Olympic Studios in London. So also John Bonham and John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page also had home studios built during these times. This is, clearly, the 5th album. This is deep into their success, and a couple albums before their demise. So this is, peak. These guys had money. So they were building studios at home, which allowed them to basically work on better and more complicated arrangements. So by the time they came into the studio, or this mobile studio, they stepped in prepared, and the sound of Led Zeppelin from this point on became a bit more expansive than it had been in the previous 4 albums. Okay, so in April of 1972, the group decided to take the mobile studio to Mick Jagger's home, Stargroves. So that Stargroves was Mick Jagger's home. To confirm that. So that's, it's Houses of the Holy, so lots been said. So I don't think I'm gonna have to go into the minutiae of every single song and how wonderful they are. I will talk about it a little, but every song on this album can have its own documentary. the most distinctive song on this album to me is No Quarter. Um, and as I said, it's one of these expansive Led Zeppelin songs, and it just, I remember listening to that on my headphones in cold weather and on long treks, and it just has that feel of peril in adventure. Yeah, that part of the adventure where everything's not really going too well. Um, and it kind of always reminds me of winter, actually, but maybe not for everybody. So the cover was inspired by Arthur C. Clarke's novel Childhood's End, and it's a collage of a couple of photographs that were taken at Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. And they were taken by Audrey Powell. She was part of this group called Hypnosis, and they were an art group. So it took them about 10 days, it says, for them to shoot this. And there's two children, Stefan and Samantha Gates. And Samantha Gates also later appears on the back cover of Presents, which is a later album of theirs. So not every song made it to Houses of the Holy, including the title track. You look at the songs and it's like, oh, there's not a title track on this. That's fine. That's it happens on albums. But you look at the next album, Physical Graffiti. There's a song on there called House of the Holy, which is a great song. But I kind of understand. It exists as Physical Graffiti to me, and it fits into the sound of Physical Graffiti to me. But maybe it could have been on here. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the packaging and everything. It was nominated for Best Packaging in 1974. So all these little nominations, like lesser known Grammy nominations for things I'm learning about just making this channel. So the album, critical response was mixed, but it was a commercial success. And it's received the diamond certification since, and it's number 278 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time. So it's certainly a Led Zeppelin classic. Alright, let's finally get this cellophane crap off and see my destructive handiwork. Unbelievable. Alright, so it was released. It was distributed by Atlantic, but it was released on Swan Song, which was their label. Let's see if there's anything on the inside. I don't know. Actually, finally open this up. Here we are. So it said that the photographs were black and white and later tinted. Put in a collage. Yeah, it doesn't look like this is the same place. Let's see. I guess it might be. But I have no information on these models. So it could be one of the children, but I think that's an adult. This was also the first Led Zeppelin album that had lyrics included. So on this reprint, they're pretty much reproducing the exact circumstances, not circumstances, but properties of the original album. Very cool. This is nice, baby. Alright, so signature Atlantic label for all the Led Zeppelin albums. On side 1 we have The Song Remains the Same. We have The Rain Song, which is a beautiful song. Over the Hills and Far Away, which is said to be written about like hippie life. And number 4 is The Crunch, my least favorite Led Zeppelin song. On side 2 we have Dancing Days, which was like, this is like an experimentation with reggae and like psychedelic. And we have Jamaica, which definitely is on the reggae side of things. And number 3 is No Quarter, which is one of the greatest Led Zeppelin songs. And the last song on the album is The Ocean. Didn't really talk about who Led Zeppelin is, but might as well, just in case. But Robert Plant is the lead vocalist. Jimmy Page is on guitars, and he is on production and is the main producer. John Paul Jones is on bass guitar, except for No Quarter. He's on piano. He's on mellotron, organ, synthesizer, synthesized bass, backing vocals on The Ocean. And John Bonham is the drummer and on backing vocals on The Ocean. Yeah, and that's pretty, we have some engineers, Eddie Kramer, which I think was with them for a couple albums. And I mentioned Peter Grant. I said producer before, and no, that's wrong. That Peter Grant was their manager. Those are the people responsible for this wonderful music. This is a think this is our third Led Zeppelin, which makes sense. Definitely went Led Zeppelin crazy that first day out shopping for records. Some more of my handiwork here. Christ. Let's try that again. Now, in more acceptable plastic. Alright, 1973's House of the Holy by the immortal Led Zeppelin. Thank you for watching. If you like it, give me a thumbs up or follow, that'd be great. Or not. I'll see you next time.